Started. We learned that the earthquake was offshore and that the tsunami was coming to the northeastern part of Japan. As we're getting a little more information about exactly what we're learning, it's a very large quake, 8.8 according to the USGS. And we were last on the phone. I was on the phone with you, Rosemary, as we were talking, and I was trying to tell you about what was happening to the passengers. After people were told to stay put, eventually all the rail lines were stopped. People were out of the underground, and we started to move up above ground. That's when we lost our cell signal. Cell signals are getting incredibly tough to get here in Tokyo. Phone lines are also very difficult. We have one phone line out of this bureau to try to reach people. It's very difficult to try to communicate. As I got from Tokyo Station to here, with no rail lines, with bus lines interrupted, it is extraordinarily difficult to get across Tokyo.
Response people are waiting to see what they should do, standing by to assemble their team, even if they need to, getting the National Guard on standby. All the emergency operations centers are now open. All the first responders around the state are on standby to come in if needed. Remember, we still would have about 5.5 hours from this point, if there was a tsunami. Plenty of time to get organized and to deal with what needs to be done.
And learning from what they from that situation on February 27th, all of the agencies did get together after that, after they did receive a lot of criticism that they probably made a big thing out of nothing. They did get together, they did analyze their plan, they came up with a better plan, they fine-tuned their buoys, and now they are combing through all of that information to put out another alert, and we're expecting that sometime, hopefully soon. We did talk to John Cummings of the Department of Emergency Management. He did say that they have fixed those sirens that were not sounding off at the last warning, and Shelley Ichishida of the State Civil Defense says she and her team are also standing by on alert.
Flag stranded. It's going to be a while before any of these people get any help. It'll probably be several days until we begin to understand how big of a situation this is. I think it's fair to say tragedy. There will be deaths. There will be widespread damage. There, you can see it right here. A major global catastrophe unfolding already with those waves spreading around the Pacific and other areas. We've seen the waves. The question at this point tonight is, are they going to reach our shores?
The thing is, Tiahi, this happened in Japan at 2:46 Friday afternoon when people are working. They're off, and apparently this came without warning. That tsunami followed immediately after that 8.9 mega earthquake struck the eastern coast of Japan. A lot of buildings shaking, some of them toppled over in Tokyo, and as you said, we will probably see some deaths out there and some injuries.
Ben?
Yeah, just to let you know, we were talking a little bit earlier about the strongest quake, and that actually happened in Chile. It was the Great Chilean Quake, which happened on May 22nd, 1960, and it was recorded at a 9.5 magnitude. So an 8.8 is obviously weaker, but not by an awful lot.
Hey Ben, it's happened. A widespread warning is now in effect. We need to update our graphic there. We are going into tsunami warning mode. Let me check out the latest statement here from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. They just posted it on their website, and I'm accessing it now. Okay.
So this, of course, again, as a result of that 8.9 magnitude quake in Japan. Tiahi, you said you have the latest information coming in to you.
Let me read to you word for word from the center. A tsunami has been generated that could cause damage along coastlines of all islands in the state of Hawaii. Urgent action should be taken to protect lives and property. The tsunami is a series of long ocean waves. Each individual wave crest can last 5 to 15 minutes or more and extensively flood coastal areas. The danger can continue for many hours after the initial wave as subsequent waves arrive. Tsunami wave heights cannot be predicted, and the first wave may not be the largest. Tsunami waves efficiently wrap around islands. All shores are at risk, no matter which direction they face. The trough of a tsunami wave may temporarily expose the seafloor, but the area will quickly flood again. Extremely strong and unusual near-shore currents can accompany a tsunami. Debris picked up and carried by a tsunami amplifies its destructive power. Simultaneous high tides or high surf can significantly increase the tsunami hazard. The estimated arrival time in Hawaii of the first tsunami wave is 2:59 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time, Friday, March 11th.
Kiani, the last time this happened, when we were under a warning, the folks at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said that the area that would see the first wave would be the Big Island, probably Hilo Bay, so that is why we had our camera stationed there. Now, one of the most important steps that the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center advises all of you to take is to go to your phone book and try to find out if you are living near an evacuation zone. Obviously, if you are living near a shoreline, you want to take the necessary steps right now to gather your important belongings, that disaster preparedness kit. You should have things in there to help you survive for at least a week. That's according to John Cummings from the city of the Department of Emergency Management.
Now let's take a look and talk about what we're seeing right here. This is the most populated area of Honolulu. You can see the red along the coastline. This is the tsunami hazard map. If you live in one of these zones, if you know anybody nearby, it's time to pay attention. Take a good look at this. It's not just the coastline areas. If you look in, you see where the red covers, going all the way up to some of our bridges. The entire Coca Marina Shopping Center right there in that zone. And keep in mind all of Hawaii Kai, the back marina there, could get those surges if it comes through. All of the town area here. You see how far that red stretches up into Kaka'ako, past the initial area along the coast, all the way into neighborhoods, all the way into the streams and the coastal waterways there, the harbors, the ports. Here we go, getting into Ewa Beach, all along the shoreline there, White Plains. All those homes along the shoreline have to be thinking of themselves regulation area. Again, it's dem.org. And just make sure you're not adding to the panic out there. If everybody stays calm, hopefully, they like to say these can be completely 100% survivable, even a worst case scenario, because you have so much lead time. Ben, and you know about this, if they do things right, if the community responds correctly, everybody should come
neighboring islands as well, and as well as into Russia. So this is going to be a widespread event. That Sumatran earthquake, if you remember, we talked so much about it for Indonesia and Thailand, but places like India and other islands farther across the Indian Ocean, saw devastating effects as well. So this is going to continue and will be a story that unfolds greatly tomorrow. By the time we wake up in the morning, there will be a lot of new information coming in.
As that seismologist we were talking to earlier said, he said the magnitude of this earthquake, 8.9, he said this is something they're going to be studying for a long time to come and looking at. Just absolutely devastating from what we're seeing so far. Meteorologist Rick Reichme, thank you so much for joining us, and we will be coming back to you. But right now we want to go to Fox News correspondent Adam Housley.
On when those tsunamis are likely to hit, we need some more information there for people right across that region, and more information on evacuations, because that's definitely what people want to hear about. Now, I just want to go now to the Prime Minister of Japan, Naoto Kan, speaking. Let's just bring that up so people can hear what he has to say in the course of this devastation.
Government will do everything possible to minimize the damage. It will do its utmost. The government will put its strength together and work hard in tackling this disaster. We therefore ask the people of Japan to exercise the spirit of fraternity, help each other, and to act fast, and to help one's family and neighbors We should all help each other to minimize the damage. We ask you to act in such a way that it will be possible to minimize the damage.
The Prime Minister of Japan speaking there, Naoto Kan, pleading with people to minimize the damage. Really, the undertone there is to be calm as you move fast and act and help each other. That's his message there. I want to go back to our Kyung-la, who's there at the CNN Bureau in Tokyo. And Kyung-la, I mean, important words there. Certainly calling on the people to remain calm, very difficult under these circumstances when you're dealing with an 8.9 magnitude quake and tsunamis still rolling in across the coastline.
And you still I can actually still feel the building shaking every once in a while. So this is something that is still ongoing. So yes, people have got to stay calm. But we do want to remind people that in Japan, this is a country that is very earthquake prone, and people are trained to try to be calm in something like this, although this was quite a large event. Just to give you an idea of what it was like in many offices, many homes in Japan, we're on the 9th floor of an office building, and just as the earthquake hit, all the papers went flying. We have a tape library as well, and the tapes are strewn all over the floor. So what happened in our office, though I wasn't here, I was at Tokyo Station, basically everything was shaking, and anything that was piled up fell on the ground. So, you know, we're still kind of sorting things out here, but what we're seeing now is, the after effects of a quake event. We are not having very secure phone lines. Trying to get computer internet access is very difficult. Transportation in the city of Tokyo as well has truly come to a halt. Still getting information about whether or not there's any air traffic, but I can tell you from just being at Tokyo Station, one of the big hubs in this city, that the rail lines have completely stopped. And this is a city that truly relies on rail traffic. So as the offices empty out, people are getting evacuated out of high-rises. We are, I think, the only ones left in this building. People are walking on the street trying to figure out how they're going to get home. So the Prime Minister urging people to be calm is very important, because you have the streets completely flooded with people, and they've got to figure out what to do next and how to get home safely. So that's really going to be the challenge at this point. Tokyo is a city of 13 million people. If you have an infrastructure as vital as rail lines that are not working right now, then you have those people who really are at a loss as to how to get home. We want to remind people here in Tokyo, it's still the middle of the workday. It's 4 or 5 p.m. People are normally at the office. They are just about to either pick up their kids in the 6 p.m. hour. They've got to figure out how to do all of this safely.
Is that what they say
right now?
And I guess if you have a beautiful yacht, you might even take it out to sea and try and ride it out there.
Not having a boat myself, but I think the most prudent course of action is basically to go out to sea, because the wave will be smaller, but if you have time and you have the fuel and all of that.
Have a family waiting for you back home.
Yeah, you may as well. You might want to do that.
We got word the governor is on his way to the Emergency Operations Center, so he is going to take control at the helm there as we go through this. Of course, if it hasn't occurred to you yet, it looks like the entire state will be up late tonight together at 3 a.m. Watching and waiting to see whatever happens. And hopefully it's all over after that, but you get the feeling it's going to be a long night, all the way through sunrise perhaps, and no school, no work tomorrow. I'm just guessing these are things that will come down the pipe as we start organizing and wrapping our heads around this.
Yeah, we don't have any word from the DOE as of yet as to whether schools are going to be in. We're still in the preliminary stages of this. The warning itself was just issued just a little while ago, and so a lot of the emergency responders, the Civil Defense, the Department of Emergency Management in all counties, and the State Civil Defense are all trying to determine exactly what will be
times bigger than the Haiti earthquake. 100 times. It's that logarithm they use where just an extra point when you get to the 7, 8, 9 range is a huge difference, a tremendously more powerful earthquake than just 1 point lower.
And I remember that was what concerned the folks at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center the last time when we were in a warning on February 27th, when an 8.8 earthquake hit Chile. I remember them pointing out that that was much larger than the one that rocked Haiti. Of course, we saw the damage and the destruction in Haiti as a result of that earthquake.
Right, and just the size of it back in the Chile earthquake, 8.9, that is one of the main factors that had them putting out that warning, just because it was so big. Once it gets past that certain point, you have to expect something. And as we've already seen, it's happening. It's something.
Yeah. Ben, let's talk about the proximity, the closeness of Japan and Hawaii here.
Yeah, it's about 250 miles away from Tokyo, Japan, to the northeast. And let me see if I can get this.
And bring the supplies with you. Again, these refuge areas are not shelters. These areas are to provide a safe place outside of the evacuation zone. So if you're in an evacuation zone and one of these facilities are listed, even though they may be at the shoreline, there may be a kind of break outside of the water where it's not.
Keep that in mind. Wow, you can see the damage across the
All
board.
right, thank you very much, Timesville, for that. And joining us live by phone now is DOT spokesperson Dan Meisenthal with an important update on our airport. Dan.
That's right. We just want to let you know that the Hawaii airport has been shut down. The process is being shut down. Everyone's being sent home. Anybody who's going to Hawaii knows that airport is right on the water there. And of course, if something happens, if a wave does come, or waves do come, Hawaii will be the first to be affected by that. Honolulu Airport, the last flight leaves at around 10:50, 11 o'clock. Once that flight leaves, that airport will
If you've seen this yet, please get to some place where you can see this on TV. The agency over there said the quake struck, of course, in the middle of the afternoon. It was 2:46 in the afternoon, Friday afternoon already over in...
If you look closely, you see this water just pushing debris, pushing entire houses and cars along with it. Look closely. There are huge buildings in that debris washing through roads and farmlands. It's incredible to actually see this from the sky unfolding before our eyes. If I recall correctly, the Indonesian tsunami 6 years ago, we all saw that huge wave hitting the shoreline. But that was the only view. The only time I'd ever seen a tsunami as it was happening. And this is something entirely new, to actually be able to watch the water coming through like this from the air and watch it continue through this farmland. Look at these houses. People driving on the road right there. I wonder if they even know there's a pile of water coming out. And not just the water, but all the debris.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, really scary, showing those cars actually fleeing the tsunami wave. Let's make sure that that does happen here in Hawaii and everybody's up. I mean, the ship, there's boats and fires break out. And as County, as you were talking, once the wave comes through, the damage doesn't end. Fires break out, and once the wave pulls out, all that debris is not pushed back, but pulled back in. And, oh, God, this is hard to watch.
Not like your surf wave where it goes back into the ocean. This is a continuous, long wave that stretches over long and far distances. And unlike the sets that roll onto shore, tsunami, as we've heard Chip and Prairie say, it can wrap around the Hawaiian Islands.
You see, there's a semi right there driving on the road and it's starting to turn sideways. It got caught up by it. And now that truck is getting washed away with the tsunami. And it just keeps going. How far inland is this thing going? And heading for big, heading for big, anything close to this happens here.
That would mean that a tsunami is coming in a few minutes to flood the coast. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to see that, and it looks like for this particular event,
for Hawaii, 3:21 a.m. for Oahu, 3:27 a.m. for Maui, and 3:46 a.m. for the Big Island. Unusual wave action is possible for several hours after the arrival of the waves. Exact tsunami heights cannot be predicted. A tsunami is a series of long ocean waves which are not surfable. All shores are at risk, no matter which direction they face, and you should remain well away from the coastline until the tsunami threat subsides, as extremely strong and unusual nearshore currents are possible. Debris picked up and carried by a tsunami also poses a significant threat. Tsunami waves are amplified as they enter harbors and bays. With a tsunami warning from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. A tsunami warning remains in effect for the entire state of Hawaii at 2:45 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. An earthquake occurred at 7:46 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, March 10th, off the coast of Honshu, Japan, near 38.3 north, 142.4 east, with a magnitude of 8.9. Sea level readings do confirm that a tsunami has been generated, which could cause widespread damage. Urgent action should be taken. A tsunami is a series of long ocean waves. Each individual wave crest can last 5 to 15 minutes or more and extensively flood coastal areas. The danger can continue for many hours after the initial wave as subsequent waves arrive. Tsunami wave heights cannot be predicted, and the first wave may not be the largest. Tsunami waves efficiently wrap around islands, so all shores are at risk. The trough of a tsunami wave may arrive first, temporarily exposing the seafloor, but will again flood quite quickly. Since local conditions can cause wide variation in tsunami wave action, the all-clear determination must be made by local authorities. Waves should begin arriving along the shores of Kauai within the next few minutes, then reach Oahu around 3:21 a.m., Maui at 3:27 a.m., and the Big Island by 3:46 a.m. Bulletins will be issued hourly or sooner if conditions warrant. The tsunami warning will remain in effect until further notice. Please listen to local news media for information and instructions from Civil Defense. Thank you. This is the National Weather Service with a tsunami warning from the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. A tsunami warning remains in effect for the entire state of Hawaii at 2:45 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. An earthquake occurred at 7:46 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, March 10th, off the coast of Honshu, Japan, near 38.3 north, 142.4 east, with a magnitude of 8.9. Sea level readings do confirm that a tsunami has been generated, which could cause widespread damage. Urgent action should be taken. A tsunami is a series of long ocean waves. Each individual wave crest can last 5 to 15 minutes or more and extensively flood coastal areas. The danger can continue for many hours after the initial wave as subsequent arrive. Tsunami wave cannot be predicted, and the first wave may not be the largest. Tsunami waves efficiently wrap around islands, so all shores are at risk. The trough of a tsunami wave may arrive first, temporarily exposing the seafloor, but will again flood quite quickly. Since local conditions can cause wide variation in tsunami wave action, the all-clear determination must be made by local authorities. Waves should begin arriving along the shores of Kauai within the next few minutes, then reach Oahu around 3:21 a.m., Maui at 3:27 a.m., and the Big Island by 3:46 a.m. Bulletins will be issued hourly or sooner if conditions warrant. The tsunami warning will remain in effect until further notice. Please listen to local news media for information and instructions from Civil Defense. Thank you.
6 feet, according to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. For some spots, maybe Honolulu may not get that much, with most of the higher wave activity happening in places like Navihi Harbor, which is about 7 minutes away from the estimated arrival time in Honolulu here. 321, but you got these two people sitting there.
You know, I actually got on the phone and called the Honolulu Police Department, but they're busy clearing the rest of the roads through Waikiki. Now, Ben, we were also talking with Keahi. This tsunami may be different. There might not be a receding of the water. It just might come up right up.
It just might come right up, depending on the energy. A lot of the tsunamis are very different in the way that they behave, depending on what kind of earthquake actually happened as well. Because if you have an upthrust earthquake, if you've got an earthquake that sank, and like we were talking much earlier in the evening with Dr. McCrary at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, this may be a pretty long fault line, so some of that energy may have gone upwards, some of it may have gone downwards, and that could mean that we could see some pretty messy tsunami waves. Again, we don't know exactly the height. The estimates right now about 6 feet, and we have had some areas that have been reporting in as far as how high the waves are. That includes Midway. They're saying 4.3 feet, but again, 4.3 feet is actually the deviation from the normal sea level, so that's not necessarily how tall the wave actually was.
Well, the most important thing is these two people that are sitting here on the beach in Waikiki are doing something extremely dangerous, and I'm going to say it, pretty dumb. So if you know anybody out there, or you know who these people are, or you just have a friend that says, hey, I'm going to head out there and see what's going on, don't do it now, and don't do it for several hours, because it's not the first wave that might be the most dangerous. It might be the ones that come right after, right, Ben?
Yes, indeed, because again, as we've been saying all evening long and all morning long, a tsunami is not just one single wave. As we saw in the Indian Ocean tsunami episode, there are definitely more than one wave that come in, and so the first wave may not also be the biggest one.
And that's less than 5 minutes away, right?
Yeah, at least according to the estimate, so we'll...
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on the water, and we also have our Lisa Kubota, who is in a higher place, safe ground there. She's at the top of the Aston Waikiki, and she joins us live by phone. Lisa.
Several people out along the shoreline in Waikiki, more than just the two that Tyler had mentioned earlier. Some people are just walking out. Some people are on bicycles. We've also seen a few cars slowly driving by as they check out the shoreline. Police were out here earlier making the announcement, blocking off roads. Of course, the Waikiki substation is right along the water's edge as well, and we haven't seen any police vehicles or officers along Kalakaua Avenue in the last half hour or so. What is unusual is that it's strangely silent. A lot of the businesses are closed. Some of the hotels have, of course, evacuated guests to higher floors. Some hotels aren't even allowing people to remain on the Makai side of the facility. We can also see from our vantage point here on the Aspen Beach Hotel, the boats, lots of boats out on the horizon, lots of little dots, hundreds of them headed out to sea to wait for this threat to pass by. We've also seen people stocking up on supplies earlier, on gas, on supplies from convenience stores, things like that. Several hotels have posted warnings in different languages for their guests as well. So we are keeping an eye on the water level here, but unfortunately we can see several people along the water's edge choosing to put themselves in danger at this point. That is the latest from Waikiki. Back to the studio.
So much, Lisa. We've been watching these people actually sitting on the wall. This is right across the street from where you are. They have probably about a 50-yard dash to get to those stairs and get to higher ground over there by Lulu's Bar and Grill. Normally, you know, they make it in time. Somebody can come out there and grab them. The wave isn't expected to hit Oahu for another 15 minutes or so, but we're about 3 minutes out from the first expected arrival time on Kauai. This here is a look at Diamond Head on Oahu. So we got another 10-15 minutes before we're looking for anything significant there. But we've been checking out our different cameras, webcams on Kauai. I think this is probably the Kapaa one we were just looking at is probably the closest one that I could see. Wait, this is a new one. This might be even closer. Because I see some palm trees and what looks like maybe the edge of the Sheridan Beach over there. I hope those aren't people standing around by the palm trees. Hard to tell. This Kapaa shot right here, this is probably 100 to 200 yards from the ocean, but there's a long reef that goes way out just offshore here. I don't expect any significant wave action there. It would have to get across that huge outside reef. But the Poipu side, for sure. You know, there aren't a lot of deep outside reefs far off. It's relatively deep right offshore, the south shore out there. And so if we are going to see anything, it might be in one of those camps?
Basically, we could have higher waves, and it's very unpredictable because a lot of it also depends on what is underneath the ocean's surface. You can see the lights from the police helicopter that Faisal mentioned. The three people who are out there, a couple who are gone because now the police helicopter is going out there and how we try to clear up what they can.
All right, well, we are well past the 307, the first arrival of the tsunami wave. We're not seeing any activity here from our live camera of the Hue town. And Kathy, I know Chip McCreary was saying maybe Waikiki would not see wave heights of maybe 6 feet because of reef is protecting that beach area. I know you're